Could you do, if we did something, could you flip us and make some special CGI?
Oh,
Crazy.
cool. Great. We did it. We went and saw the Marvels.
We did it.
One of 14 people.
There's maybe like 20 people in my theater, but I had a bigger theater.
Yes, I was somewhere.
You don't want to tell everyone where you were?
No. Location unknown.
Blow up your spot?
Date.
We can't dox your movie theater?
Date and time, origin unknown, parts unknown. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
We saw the Marvels, bearing the sins of previous Marvel projects. Perhaps going to make the least amount of money for opening weekend since like the Incredible Hulk. So not a good sign, but we're here to tell you. You hear all these things. I know I'm having a long preamble here,
That's fine. Go ahead.
You're hearing all the things online about like, oh, you gotta watch all the shows and you gotta watch all these things. You don't.
Nope.
It explains it to you pretty well.
Yep.
The landing for how they do it, it's okay. But they basically tell you all the stuff you need to know about these two characters. This is the sequel to 2019's Captain Marvel, which took place in the 90s. This is 30-ish years later. Directed by Nia DaCosta, who did the Candyman, not reboot, reimagining. Stars Brie Larson, obviously, as Carol Danvers. Tiana Paris is Monica Rambeau, grown up, who was in WandaVision. And then you have Iman Vellani, who plays Kamala Khan, who is from Miss Marvel. Again, you don't have to watch those shows to understand their characters.
But I'll tell you, Miss Marvel's great, and you should definitely go watch
And so was WandaVision.
WandaVision, oh yeah, I feel like everyone was on WandaVision, but by the time we got to Miss Marvel, we were like, I think I'm done. But no, please, like, Miss Marvel is fantastic.
Yes.
It's really good.
But basically the plot is, well, the bad guy, Zawe Ashton, I think her name is, she's basically doing the plot from Spaceballs, which is kind of funny. She's stealing
natural resources
from other planets. But Captain Marvel, Professor Marvel, and Miss Marvel get entangled when they all touch some. What is it?
It's a jump point.
Jump point.
Like we see a lot of those in Guardians.
Yes, but it's a quantum tunnel basically.
Yeah.
And they all, well, Kamala doesn't touch it, but basically Brie Larson and Tiana touch it, and it entangles their powers.
Yeah.
And they have to figure that out. So it's a buddy comedy mixed with a Marvel action movie.
Yeah.
And as with most Marvel movies, the villain is not really that important.
I don't need an important villain.
But you'd need a compelling villain.
And I think villain's probably like weakest part of the movie.
Yes. But anyway, Samuel Jackson's also back.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Fury, Kamala Khan's family is in it. Couple cameos we'll talk about later. But the demise of Marvel has been overly promised because this is not the demise of Marvel.
Yeah.
Secret Invasion, yes. A couple of the other shows, yes. Loki, no. This, I think, it makes sense why they released this and Loki on the same day, because they both connect a lot of things that people have been asking in Phase 4 and Phase 5, like connect everything.
Yeah.
And this does a really good job of setting up incursions, which are gonna happen.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange sets it up too, but this basically connects it in like, oh, this is how the incursions work.
Yeah, I think it also sets up that we have multiple ways to jump through multiverses and timelines.
There's not one way.
There's not just one way, because you have like America Chavez, and you have now Loki. This kind of thing, and Loki, and so it's like this movie's supposed to be like, hey, we want to have fun, and it's supposed to be a fun sequel where we highlight these great characters, but also we're laying some groundwork. But also Nia DaCosta's like, I don't want to do too much of that. She's talked about this recently, and she's like, I want people to enjoy the movie without having to watch like 40 different things.
And you don't have to.
And you don't have to. Yeah. And it works really well. And they even in the way that they like introduce Kamala is like very like still ties to the show, but also is like, okay, I'm up to speed now. You know?
I will say that if you're not a Marvel fan going into this, you're not going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot it's the 33rd movie, so there are things setting up in here that you have to understand. But if you have a basic, casual idea of Marvel, I think you'll go in liking this movie. I liken it to the first Guardians, whereas it's setting up stuff, but it also is doing its own thing. Like, there are some really fun scenes in this movie. I'm, of course, talking about the Singing Planet, which is sort of a spoiler, but I mean, I don't mind spoiling it because I think it's going to help the audience to understand this is more of a Guardians movie than it is a Marvel movie, if that makes sense. Well, it's space, so that kind of makes sense. But also the fights in this are super sick. They're like some of the best.
I get like everyone loves like the Guardians one from like earlier this year, and it is like fantastic. That scene is awesome. But there is a scene in the middle of this movie that is so fun and so well done.
Yeah.
And that it doesn't look like CGI. It doesn't look. It's like shot so practically. But then you have like everyone's flipping in like 3 different directions, and it's just fun.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like the pitch of the movie was I've got this idea for a fight where it's 3 people switching, and then they just built a movie off that, and it was fun.
The entanglement stuff, they do a really good job. The only issue is the emotion connected with it, with Carol Danvers and Monica. It's not that great.
Yeah.
They've definitely cut out a bunch of emotional dialogue.
I think they've cut out emotion, and they cut out a little bit of like trying to explain, because like again, you like give it, you're like, okay, like they're switching, like 2 of them touched, and now they're like all switching powers, and their powers are kind of all connected.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're like, I just don't know how it's all happening. And then there's a big part of the story of like why the villain is doing all of this and why like what Captain Marvel's role is in that, and it's done very quickly. It's kind of been like this also happened.
It feels like this is the 3rd movie and we missed the 2nd movie. So I like the whole idea of Captain Marvel being from the perspective of being an annihilator, because she definitely feels the weight of that. And I will say Brie Larson and everyone at Marvel, they definitely saw the criticism of the first Captain Marvel. Obviously, there were some bad faith arguments against it. There's this dream sequence that I really love. I wish was longer. And I'm hoping it was longer in the pre-edit when they're editing it down, where all 3 of the characters basically are going through like memories together.
Yeah.
It felt like that could have been fleshed out better to give that humanity back to Captain Marvel, which she's just searching for, because the Kree ripped her humanity from her. So there are things that aren't the best, but overall this is exactly what I think Marvel fans have been asking for.
It feels this is like our Civil War, and I feel like we should have had something in between, maybe like bringing Jude Law back. Like that's what they always do. They always bring back like the villain.
He's just out there in space flying somewhere.
But it's like I kind of want to, like kind of it would have been cool to see like a Jude Law like in there to be like, hey, everyone hates you because of this, or like having Captain Marvel deal with that. Like, she kind of was Kree for a while. Yeah, she does have Kree ties. It's like, so I think there obviously was not a ton, probably a little bit cut out.
I think there was something cut out that could have made the movie a little bit better.
But I do think it is nice that it's short. Not short, but
in Marvel terms it's short.
In Marvel terms it's short, which I think helps with things like there's not really any terrible CGI in this.
No, the final fight there's like every Marvel movie ends with a big CGI battle.
Yeah.
This doesn't have that.
Like it's shot like everything. It looks like the right amount of time was given to the people to finish this.
Yeah.
It doesn't. There's nothing like you're like, ooh, that's weird and hard to look at. It never feels like, oh, there is something weird about this. Yeah. And it's just fun. It's a fun time.
Deadpool is probably going to profit off of this movie.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are going to watch this on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of people probably are like, well, Marvel's been missed lately, so I'll just wait to watch it at home.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, oh, it's actually great.
Yeah.
And it sets up Deadpool really well.
Yeah.
It doesn't mention Deadpool or anything, but
no, he shows up. He shows up and he's like, hey, hello, how's it going? See my movie.
In 2024.
When they just leave it open because they were like, oh,
coming soon.
We're not
No one was really there to promote this movie, so all the Marvel hate promoted the movie.
Yeah.
And that's not going to go well.
Yeah. When really, you should have had Miss Marvel out there who's just
goofing off, having a good
she's
time.
so good in this movie, and she's so good in real life. It just seems like she's very like she loves being there, and she is just like her character.
Yeah, and it's good to have a conduit for the fans.
Yeah,
because Marvel doesn't really have that anymore. I mean, Paul Rudd's Ant-Man has evolved beyond that point.
Well, he's an author now. He's a best-selling author.
And so you need someone to be the audience, basically. So, and Kamala Khan is that. Now let's quickly get into some spoilers. Okay. Beast shows up. CGI it's not the greatest, not the worst.
His head's a little small.
His head is a little small.
Or his body's a little big. I haven't figured out which is.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
But it's better than the Patton Oswalt CGI from Eternals.
Oh, yes.
Pippin or whatever his name is. I like how they're setting up the Foxverse to be involved. This is what I meant by the Deadpool connection. Clearly, this is that's the universe Deadpool's going to come up in. I hope Monica Rambeau and Lashana Lynch's character, I can't remember the mom's name, the mom of Monica Rambeau, Captain Rambeau. I don't remember her first name.
Dang.
But I hope those two characters show up in Deadpool. I don't know if they will, but I like the idea of Monica being back with her mom, but her mom never having her in another universe.
There's one at the end where it's essentially setting up Kamala to be the new Nick Fury for the Young Avengers, which rules. Because I do think no matter what you say about some of the stuff they've done, that people, especially on the internet, love those young characters. Mm-hmm. They, Kamala's great. Everyone loved Kate Bishop, and everyone loves Yelena.
Yes.
So that eventually, like, she'll get pulled in, and then people like young Loki and a couple others. I guess Wanda's kids, maybe.
But those are all rumors.
Those are all rumors.
Kate Bishop.
But for sure, I think people, at least the internet, really love those newer, younger characters, and to set it up as like a fun joke at the end, but also, hey, no, there is a world where eventually they're going to team up and do something.
I always talk about how Marvel ratings are different from movie ratings. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to give this a Marvel 8, but a real life 7.
Okay.
Because it's a really great movie to watch. Very fast, breezy.
Yep.
Great action. It's a good action movie, straight up. It reminds me of early day Marvel.
I'm right there with you. I think it's like a 7 for a movie, 8 for a Marvel. That middle scene alone, just like that fight scene,
but also the montage of them learning their powers.
And then learning their powers, later the fights get a little less, but like that middle fight scene will go down as like, at least in whatever we're calling post-Endgame, like top 3 fights probably. Yes.
And then the Flurkins are just great.
The Flurkins, and it's just an incredible scene, which we won't spoil, that like, you're like, wait, what am I hearing? Yeah. And then it all comes together and you're like, fantastic.
Just great. I mean, Andrew Lloyd Webber would be proud. But yeah, go watch it. If you're a Marvel fan, it's worth the time.
Yep.
If you're not a Marvel fan, I don't know why you watch this review.
Maybe because they like us.
Yeah, I don't think that's true.
Un esercito di pro